There is a solution for that is sponsored by VARC Solutions. VARC Solutions helps small businesses succeed by delivering expert QuickBooks bookkeeping, consulting, quick-based development, and integrated solutions. If you own a small to medium-sized business that uses QuickBooks or QuickBase, the experts at VARC Solutions can help. In business since 1999, with people who care and the knowledge and experience to solve your toughest problems. Visit varcsolutions.com for all your QuickBooks needs. Welcome back to another edition of There's a Solution for That, where we help small businesses succeed by discussing challenging business problems and best-in-class solutions. All right, welcome back, everybody, for the latest edition of There's a Solution for That. We have great guest on our show today, Azgari LIPSHY, founder of Azgari.com. And we're going to be talking about a fascinating topic because, you know, a lot of folks out there have dreams of starting a business and being successful and profitable in a business. And Azgari also has a lot of experience in this area as a launch partner. So welcome to the show, Azgari, and I can't wait to talk to you about how to start a cash flow positive business with you as a launch partner.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for that intro. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you to kind of just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, first off, you know, what in the world is a launch partner, and how did you get started doing all that stuff?
Sure. I started in my own entrepreneurial journey very early, like a wee little baby, 16-year-old, didn't know what I was doing. But I did have good mentors, so I managed to become quite successful with my first two companies at a very, very early age. They were both in manufacturing and wholesale space. So food products, supplements, moved on to garment manufacturing from there. Fast forward now, I have two construction companies here in Austin. But aside from those, what my true passion lies is in helping other first-time founders launch their business the right way. Because I have launched things the wrong way many times, failed at several as well. I've bought franchises, I have acquired existing businesses, sold a few, so done it all.
Yeah.
And what I realized, you know, everything leaves a clue after a while, right? You start seeing patterns. There's a right way of doing things, there's a wrong way of doing things. And even doing the right thing at the wrong time is going to still bring you failure.
Right.
So having a seasoned team operate and launch your business strategically in the right way makes a huge difference in whether you're going to be successful or not. It's kind of like, I know it sounds super shitty, but it's kind of like when you have a kid who comes from a great family, has tutors at school, parents are, you know, have the time and mental bandwidth to make sure the kid goes to all the right, you know, aftercare programs, whatever not, they end up going to Ivy League schools. Whereas if another kid didn't have those opportunities, he could be 100 times smarter.
Right.
Higher IQ may not get that opportunity, right? So if you look at it the same way, it's the same thing. I know people say when you launch a business, your chances of failure are what, 80, 90%? Sure, because you're doing it haphazardly by yourself, run around in a circle. But
yeah,
you launch with a seasoned team that knows what they're doing, they've done it several times, they know what to look out for. And even if they come across something that they don't know how to fix, it's still a team helping fix your problem rather than you being burned out trying to figure it out. That's essentially it. Does that answer your question? I know that was a long-winded answer.
It does. And
okay.
And just to kind of mirror back some of that, I mean, the first time that I bought a business, I learned so much. I mean, it was overwhelming how much I learned. I mean, just like night and day. What I didn't know before and what I knew afterwards was, I mean, it was a college education. It was a master's education.
I was going to say you have a PhD already.
Right. And so when I look back on that, the amount of stuff I did not know beforehand was massive. And just it's the same thing. I can't imagine, you know, if I've done that 20 times, 100 times, how much more of an expert in that process I would be versus doing it once, right? And especially like you said, if you don't have anybody helping you, the amount of mistakes that you can make, the you know the I'm trying to be, and I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to use my words. I'm going to try to be very, very cheap, and I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
going to spend money. I'm not going to buy the right software. I'm not going to get the right people. I'm going to get the cheapest help possible. I'm going to cut corners. And then you find out, okay, you have some success, and then you start growing. And then it's like, oh, all this software that I had initially invested in is crap for the next stage that I'm going to be in. And so I got to redo everything.
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
I was trying to save money on this invoicing software, and now it's like, well, but it doesn't do these other things that I have to have it do. And now
Yep.
I'm just, so the time component, the wasted money component. I mean, I just imagine all those things that your team can help with. So yeah, so I applaud you for not just continuing to do your own thing, but also helping people do it themselves. That's awesome.
I would say my biggest job is basically helping people not fuck themselves over,
Yeah,
for lack, excuse my French,
yeah.
because half the time, not half the time, 99% of the time, people, most of my clients, they're high income earners, they're very high in their career, right? They're all
Hmm.
executives, directors, and they know how to be an employee in a large corporation
Yeah.
with other people's money very well.
Hmm.
But you switch that to a small business ownership, all of a sudden they're like, oh, do we really need to hire that staff? It's like, yes, we do, because you're not trying to hire yourself into another job and do day-to-day operations. You
Yeah.
want it to be a business owner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it
And
is
it's
a
hard.
mindset shift that needs to happen first.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Going from W-2 to or contractor to business owner, and suddenly it's like, oh wait, I'm thinking about this differently now. But it's like one of the things I always, advise people on and talk to people about in our business is the whole concept of working on your business versus working in your business, right? I want to be an owner, not an operator. And sometimes you got to do a little bit of both. But you don't want to start a business with the intention of being the operator 5 years from now. And so, how do you start building the infrastructure and building the team and all that other stuff so that you don't find yourself working 90 hours a week, burnt out, overwhelmed, underpaid?
And then
Well,
quitting, and
yeah,
then quitting by year three because you just can't wait to get your hands off of this thing.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Well, so let's talk about it. So who do you typically work with? Like, what are some of the types of people that you work with, and also what types of businesses do you typically help people get started in?
I'll give you some real examples of last week. So normally I do webinars
Hmm.
because that gives me that time bandwidth to actually explain all the intricacies of everything that we do, it comes with. And usually that's where most of my clients come from.
Hmm.
I have a client that onboarded just a week and a half ago. He's a director at USSA Bank. Super, super educated, super smart guy.
Hmm.
His specialization is in securities and risk assessment.
Okay.
He just wants to get out of what he's doing eventually so that
Hmm.
he can do his own thing.
Right.
But his expertise is for 20 years in this field,
Right.
right? So my job was to combine his expertise into what is needed in his local market where he lives, which is
Hmm.
Dallas, Texas.
Right.
So we combined the two and came up with three different business models, which all leverage his existing experience, which are all needed in the Dallas area.
Hmm.
So now we're going to pursue and pressure test those models to see which one will land at. But one of the criterias for our pressure testing is he wants to have at least 250K generated through the business. Because I'm assuming, if he can make that from the business, he'll be comfortable to continue on with the expenses, his day-to-day expenses.
Right.
So every model we selected has the potential to make over 1.2 million the first year. So it would realistically be able to accomplish what he wants to accomplish.
Yeah, and
Does
that's
that give you an idea of how we select
yeah,
a little
yeah, for
bit?
sure, for sure. And I think we'll go a little bit deeper on that too. But it sounds like obviously that's there's revenue and then there's cash flow, and obviously he needs cash flow to be able to you know convince his spouse if he has one, like, hey, this is a viable thing. I can quit my job and do this, right? Um, you need a profitable business model, and I think that's also something that you probably are gifted at advising clients on, because there's a lot of people out there that we meet at various conferences that are like, yeah, I want to start a business, and it's like, well, what kind of business do you want to start? And they're like, I have no idea. And
That's my specialty. That's my
right.
specialty is to stop them from going around in circle with the squirrel brain and
Yeah,
let's niche down on what you already have become a master at. And
yeah,
let's build you a business where you can utilize that instead of anything, right? I get that a lot. Like anything, I'll clean, I'll open a company that just cleans. Like, yes, but you're an executive for SAP.
right.
You will hate that in 3 years, even if it makes money.
Yeah, yeah, or 3 weeks. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a good point in helping people think down the line. But there's so many shiny objects, and people, yeah, they're like, oh, this week I'm going to be a landscaper, and the next week I'm going to be a fence builder, and the next week I'm going to be a roofing company, and the next week, you've got to save people time, right? They've got to pick the right one, or a couple different ones to see what plays out in the market, but pick one that's going to be a good enough fit that you're also going to have some interest in. I mean, it's like, I've got buddies of mine that are super into like cycling, bicycles, um, starting a bicycle repair shop might be a really good fit for them, but starting a roofing business, maybe not. Right. So I think, yeah, tell me more about that
Well,
matching
even
process.
even with that, you have to double click into it, right? Like if it's a bicycle business, are you doing something more brick and mortar where you're fixing the bikes or are you buying parts? Whichever it is that actually viable for that location?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You might be great at it, that might be your passion, but is there a need in your market for it? Because if
Mm-hmm.
there's no need, then even if you're good at it, let's think of something else. Maybe it's something related to supply chain with bikes, where you're taking over the transportation route for a large manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Still keeps you in the bike realm, but that might have a bigger need.
Right. Yeah, I love it.
So
I love it.
combining the two is super important.
Well, and I think you struck on it, right? It's like if there is no market for what you want to do, you're
Stop
not
doing
going to
it.
be successful.
No, and look at the numbers before you jump in, right? That's why we pressure test. We measure 10 times before we cut.
Yeah,
That's our motto.
yeah. I love it. I love it. So tell me, like, the types of businesses. I mean, obviously there's thousands and thousands of different businesses out there, different types or categories or industries, but do you find that the types of businesses that you help people get started in are one type or another? Are they inventory heavy? Are they service heavy? Like, what are you typically seeing?
Shit that we can get a loan for. Is that technical enough for you?
Yeah, yeah. Stuff that you can get a loan for. Well, let's talk about that. So are you?
I mean, I could double click into it, but
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. If we can't get funding for it, we're not going to touch it.
Okay. Well, this is an interesting topic, right? So instead of assuming that somebody has a war chest sitting in their bank account ready to spend to start and grow a business, you take people that don't have that.
Most of my clients don't have that. And even if they do, most of my clients are high-powered executives and directors, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've worked really hard to have a great credit score.
Mm-hmm.
You probably are a very responsible human
Mm-hmm.
and you have low credit utilization. You have great income. Why are we not going to leverage all of that
Mm-hmm.
and get you a small business loan instead of using up all your savings, which we can use to do other things and other investments with?
Right. Very cool. So, are there certain types? Well, so you said I think just rewinding the tape there. So you said businesses that you can get a loan for. Are there certain types of businesses, or is it more about the person?
It's a combination of both, right? And it's a good indicator if somebody, if a large bank or the Small Business Administration is willing to give you a loan for it, right? Because they're not stupid. They're not going to gamble with their money.
Right.
If they see your business plan and what you want to do as viable enough that, okay, this person's going to be able to pay us back, then they'll give you a loan. So that in itself should be your more than good enough indicator that, okay, we're marching towards something that makes sense.
I love it. So like if you're going to a bank and they're turning you down, it's maybe a good sign that either you're not credit worthy or you don't have a very good business plan.
Yes,
Or both. And both.
I've had people come up to me like, I want to do a makeup cosmetic company. I'm like, have you ever worked in one? No. Okay. What do you do right now? Oh, I'm not working right now. I'm like, how, what, why?
Hmm. Yeah, tell me more. Right?
Or don't tell me more. I don't have the time. Like,
Right.
unless you can come down to reality and we can have a real logical conversation about what is realistic and not. And most people aren't realistic when it comes to business. You really have to bring them down to earth.
So let's talk through it. Like, do you have maybe a typical scenario, like maybe a a a success story that, hey, I took this person, we did this, and here was the outcome?
Yep. So I had, she's a friend at this point. Actually, all my clients eventually become friends. And when she came to us, um, she was working as a bank manager, didn't have any experience with business, right? She wanted to do just a small retail shop because her mom worked in a retail shop. She just thought that's what business looks like, and that should be that. But when we double clicked into it, she always wanted to be in medicine. She likes
Mhm.
helping elderly. And when we did market research for her background, there was there was a relative clear picture between demand and supply for a medical transportation company.
Hmm.
It didn't make any sense to her when I mentioned it. She didn't even know what that meant, medical transportation.
Right.
But, 3.5 years later now, it's successful enough where she's having babies, she's not working full time, she has managers. To me, that's a success story if my client doesn't have to show up to work every day and she still makes enough money.
Yeah, no, that's saying a lot. That's I know there's a lot of owners that do it through just pure determination and grit and endurance, right?
And
But
then they get
yeah,
sick and the business collapses because their manager doesn't know what to do.
yeah, interesting, interesting. Well, okay, so you've got these people that you're helping. I'm curious, uh, dream killer is the word that's coming to my mind because like I'm thinking like somebody comes to you and they're like, I've got this idea,
All the time.
and then they tell it to you, and and I've got to imagine some of the times you're like, yeah, that's not good. That's not gonna
A
work.
lot of times, that's not some of
Yeah.
the time. I don't have a filter in my mouth. Sorry. I will, you will always know what I'm thinking. And most of the time, it's not good.
All right. Well, it's a breath of fresh air that at least you'll be willing to tell people because again, you're saving people time, right? If somebody's got this idea and this dream and maybe it's not so great, um, you hate to be the one that says that's not going to work or that's not a good idea because I mean there are exceptions, right? There are people that can be the one in a thousand or one in a million that breaks through like my son, for example, that wants to be a YouTube star. Hey, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not.
Everything is
I'm
possible.
not
And
saying
as
it's
long as
impossible.
you can financially keep supporting him, he can keep trying it.
Exactly.
As long as you pay for his car and his bills, I think he's fine. I'm
And
gonna root for him.
yeah, for sure. And I am too. Um, but anyways, it's kind of
I'll give you
interesting.
another example. Another brand new client, she just onboarded and hasn't been 3 weeks yet. She's super brand new. Um, A super sweet lady. She's 70, getting ready to retire.
Mm,
Again, high-powered director for entire state of Miami procurement. Like very, very smart, PhD, super smart lady. She had a dream about doing a co-working space.
hmm
And, that's what she came to me with. And after I heard her location, I said, I'm not going to say yes or no, but let me go back with my team and actually do research on how many co-working spaces are within your 5 mile radius because you said you want a location that's that close to your home. Okay.
hmm hmm
Because this is her retirement thing she wants to do, right? Okay. And the other thing is, what people also don't realize is it's not just your direct competitors you have to look into. It's what are alternatives people are using instead of what you want to offer, right?
hmm
So for example, this particular scenario, instead of going to a co-working space, most new build buildings now, apartment complexes, have beautiful co-working spaces, right next to the gym
mm,
with a coffee machine and all of that jazz. So even though it's not considered a direct competitor, but it's absolutely a competitor because people who live in that building, even if they needed an office, they're just going to go downstairs, right?
yeah.
So we found more than 218 new build buildings within her 5 mile radius. We found over 20, I think it was 26, could be wrong, somewhere around mid 20s actual co-working spaces within that 5 mile radius.
Mm,
So I went back to her and I said, you can do it, but I will not do it with you. And I'm 100% sure I can't get you a loan for this either.
mm,
But she was reasonable. She's like, what do you recommend? So I said, okay, we went through your resume. Like your expertise in procurement is over 50 years. So now we're going to create a procurement focused organization for her
hmm
with a physical location for mailbox and other back office needs for small businesses
hmm
because she also, it's her retirement, right? She wants to have interactions with people. So it
Right.
meets her need for why she wanted a co-working space, but it also utilizes her expertise and a need in the market. So it's like so many different puzzles have to fit for it to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And we do that before we end up wasting any money to start. I
Well,
like rambled on for a hot second. Did that
no,
make
no,
any sense?
no, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
But I think, it's like what you're doing effectively is coaching people through a process, right? That they're unfamiliar with, that you have knowledge and expertise to help them avoid the stupid mistakes, right? Help them be successful more frequently, have a
Yes,
higher percentage of likelihood of success, right?
correct.
Um, well, and I think the kind of stuff that you're doing is interesting for me because I mean, people like, hey, I want to go start a restaurant, and it's like, well, there's a whole bunch of restaurants near you, and do you realize it's almost impossible to make money in a restaurant? um, you know, unless you've just got the one in town that does this one thing and everybody wants it. But even then, 2 years from now, people are tired of it. They're going to the new place. You know, it's really, really hard. And so being able to have sort of like that counseling and that guidance and that advisory function um, is critical. But it sounds to me, and again, you haven't said this, but I'm kind of reading between some of the lines there. It's not just about, hey, I've got this person that needs some advice, and now here's the advice,
No,
now go off and do it. Like,
yeah.
sounds like you're involved almost at an investor level as well. Like, I mean, tell me about that part.
I am involved 100% for our absentee owner package clients. We're doing everything for them, right? There's a right way of structuring things, and it would take me so much longer trying to coach someone to do it themselves. Not to mention, every single one of my clients have full-time 9 to 5 jobs and families who they intend on keeping. So,
Yeah,
full-time 9 to 5 job, family, kids, maybe they have a hobby if they're,
yeah,
how, when, like, How and when. When do you, we all have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just coaching people through and then hoping they're successful is, in my opinion, really stupid.
Right. Well, so how involved do you get? I mean, so you said the absentee owner, is that the only option you have, or like what are the options that you talk to people about?
We do have digital courses, we have coaching programs, but I'm very blunt and upfront with them. Like those are 100% on you and how motivated you can keep yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can't take any responsibility outside of what I teach you and what you do with it. But
Right.
with our full absentee owner packages, we do everything. Like when I say everything, I mean everything. First, figuring out what would be the right business model for you. That's kind of what we just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
right? That piece of it. The
Yeah.
second piece is the funding. Let's secure the exact amount of funding we need and then some so that we can not only launch the business successfully, but operate it. You need money to actually be successful and not run out of money before you have a chance to be successful.
Right.
Because that's what ends up happening with a lot of companies too. They don't allocate enough funds for the first year run rate. So even if that business was a great idea and could have maybe made money, they ran out of money before they could get there.
Right. Which is counterintuitive, right? Because when you think of starting a business, you're like, well, this is just going to start generating money, positive cash flow, and yeah, well, I mean, what do I need money for? I'm going to be making money.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
other thing. We rarely ever utilize the entire loan amount that we get out for clients, but knowing that you have that in your back pocket where it's not going to disrupt your you're paying your staff or paying for your ops makes a huge difference. Not to mention if it's not coming out of your pocket, right?
Hmm.
People make decisions very differently from a scarcity, freaked out space if it's money they're paying out of their salary and
Hmm.
bank account, as opposed to, okay, this is what's already been allocated for the business from the loan. You've already explained all of this to me before we even started applying for a loan. Like, very different mindset. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So, is there a next step to the process? Like, so somebody comes to you, you help them evaluate the type of business that they might want to be in. You help them get the loan. Operationally, do you help them operate it as well? I mean, like,
100%
yeah,
for the first year.
okay.
I can't, also a control thing, right? If you're
Hmm.
going to be successful in a business, you need to have hand in operations. Just consulting over a Zoom call and going and telling you what to do is not going to
Hmm.
work. We do the hiring, we do the recruiting, training the staff,
Wow.
setting up all operations, and then managing the company for the first year until we file for taxes for the first year.
Mm.
Because that's when we can guesstimate, like, okay, we've run this for you for a year. The managers are pretty well trained. Everybody knows what they're doing. Do you want to now quit your job and do this? Or do you want to keep running it with your team? Or are you ambitious, which most of my clients are, and you want us to scale second, third, fourth year? Whether if it's scaling to an exit plan or scaling to you want to leave it to your daughter
Yeah, I
or
love it.
son or son.
Yeah, it depends on what their end goal is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. This is fantastic. Well, so tell me maybe just some, I mean, anecdotal scenarios where like, hey, this is a mistake to avoid. This is the type of thing you want to do. Kind of like just good decisions versus bad decisions as examples.
At what stage?
Just any part of it.
Well, I think we covered a little bit of the beginning stage of actually selecting a business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Another thing I would say about business selection, other than if a bank is willing to give you a loan for it, which is a massive indicator,
Mm-hmm.
right? If what you're tracking toward makes sense, is also just not try to reinvent the wheel. I understand Facebook did really well, but there's also like hundreds of thousands of people who tried to do a software company or something that there's no benchmark for, which failed miserably, and most of them do. And sure, maybe you could be that one percenter, or maybe you can make your life easy and go for things that have already been successful. Mm, I don't know. Just, I would say make your life easy.
Yeah. Well,
Don't reinvent the wheel. See what other businesses of similar that you want to do and how much money they made before their first year, second year, third year. And don't just look at one, look at 10.
mhm,
Look at 10 in your local area, because that's going to give you so much data on competition, what the competition's good at, what are they bad at, where can you find an edge or a niche, or just not do it because there's too many already.
right. Right. Well, like a case in point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It
Okay.
does. When I think of like again, I don't know if this is true at all in terms of like your approach and process, but I think like there's these businesses that are always going to be around. Like they're not going anywhere. They're going to be here 100 years from now. They're going to be here 500 years from now. And that's hair, nails, skin. Women are always going to be wanting to do their nails. They're always going to be wanting to do their hair, right? That's never going to go away. Whereas there may be something that's flashy and cool right now, which could be gone in 5 years, right? So
Software.
there's a donut shop on every corner, but they generally do pretty well.
The donuts are yummy.
Everybody wants donuts. So uh I think the whole point of like finding something that's going to last and have legs on it is important. Um so along those lines, I'm just curious, like not just so much, types of businesses that are successful, but like when I talk to people these days, everybody is trying to start an AI business. Like I'm going to go do AI this, AI that. I'm going to go and so far I have seen none that
Shocking.
have
So
a
shocking.
legitimate business model that can be used can use AI to do something valuable to a person or a client. I know they're out there, but if you meet 100 people trying to do AI something, they all have this dream of making it big with AI, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything real yet.
I've guilty as charged. After I sold one of my companies, I did an AI mental health telehealth platform for Gen Z men. Turned out men who are depressed don't want mental health support.
I love it.
So shocking that didn't work. But so yes, I can relate to it from a personal standpoint as well. With anything with software, unless you are the developer yourself, right? Where you have seen a solution for a problem, where you've had clients already for a company that you already worked in, where they told you to make this so that they can use it in-house.
Hmm.
So now there's a little bit of leg, but also you can build this yourself.
Right.
I have seen small like that, turn out to be $12 million a year company. They have 4 or 5 clients and the guy builds it themselves. But anytime you're like, oh, I'm gonna go big, well, you're gonna need millions and millions in funding,
Hmm.
right? Your job now just shifted from actually trying to grow a business to being a beggar
Hmm.
because
Fundraiser.
all you're doing 24/7 now, 7 days a week, is begging VCs and PEs for money.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're no longer a founder because it isn't even going to be your company if you become successful at fundraising.
Right.
I just that none of it makes any sense to me.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, we'll do another one of these podcasts in a couple of years, and we'll see if anybody's made it big in AI.
I, well, yeah, yeah, I would love to see that too.
Absolutely. Well, so like you mentioned a little bit about burnout earlier, and I want to go a little bit deeper in that. So, how do you help clients avoid burnout, especially when they're thinking about starting a business? I mean, it there may be this idea in their head that they could do it in a 40-hour work week, but is that real?
Well, I mean, our clients don't have to. That's why we're there.
Right. And that's
They're
because
not
you're
handling, huh?
yeah, that's because you're not just saying go do it and good luck and here we'll help you get some money. You're actually taking over and hand-holding that new business through that first year through the tax returns?
Yeah, the employees report to us. Even though it's their employees full time, they
Yeah.
know who the business owner is, but they know
Right.
we're the management team,
Okay.
right? So the day-to-day bullshit that happens in a business, that doesn't
Mhm.
magically go away because now there's a seasoned team. It's just the business owner doesn't have to deal with it
Yeah.
and burn out. That's the difference.
Do you find that that's the case? Not, let me clarify my question before you answer it. Do you find that's the case with folks that want to go into business? Like, in other words, do you find that there's a lot of business owners or people that want to work with you where they want to be that hands off, or do you find that they really do want to be involved and investing a whole bunch of time?
Every single one of my current clients and past have all kept their 9 to 5 job. And I'm sure you know this already. When somebody's paying you a salary to do a job, they're making sure they get it out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get home at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, you may have all the desire to now be active in a new business that you started, but you quickly realize you don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we build everything, the business owner has 1,000% full transparency on everything.
Mm.
So you have the lever to be involved as much as you want to, or not when you can't. I have clients who, are super excited and want to be involved, but it's like, but I'm traveling for the next 2 weeks. It's like, sure, yeah, whatever. We're good. We don't need you here.
Interesting, interesting. Well, and again, I'm just projecting my own personality, but it's like I would be like, well, no, I wanna be involved. It's like I wanna understand,
Do it. That's great.
that kind of thing.
So we do, I guess what you're asking is you want to know how to. So we do have owners mastermind every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So every Thursday, 8 p.m. is Owner's Mastermind for new cohorts.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're building the business and you're going through different stages, you're going through different stages with other executives who are
Mm-hmm.
also having their businesses built by us. And they get to learn how to be an absentee owner. How to be an absentee owner and have full visibility and control over your company is very different than if you're a day-to-day involved ops person, business owner.
Right.
So
Okay.
we are teaching them how to do their role as absentee owner effectively as well.
Okay. Okay. Very, very good stuff. Well, this has been very intriguing. And I'm rooting for your success and also the people that come to you and work with you. So, how do people get a hold of you if they have this dream of starting a business and also don't want to kill themselves and don't want to make all the mistakes?
Azgari.com. You can book a call with my team and we
Awesome.
can go from there. I do have a book coming out that's focused on how to strategically use small businesses as almost like an asset class of its own for not only having your own business, but also diversifying your investment portfolio.
Mhm. Okay, so Azgari.com, that's
Yeah.
Azgari.com. So
Yep.
go there if you want to have a chat with Azgari Lipshy, and also check out the book when it comes out so that I guess they can find links and everything on your website for the book once
Yep.
it's released.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I really do hope people that are listening that have that dream reach out to you because, again, who wants to spend years of their life and maybe not be successful? That's really depressing. So, if they can leverage your experience and your team to be successful, I want to make sure people take advantage of that. So, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. This was fun.
Awesome. And for those of you that are listening and watching, I hope this was helpful. I hope if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, this is exactly what I need, you'll reach out and get some help. And in the meantime, we will see you in the next week on the next show. There is a Solution for That is produced by VARC Solutions. This episode was produced by Ashley White and Aaron Riley. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Watch the video version on youtube.com/there's a solution for that. or visit varcsolutions.com/podcast, where you'll find our entire podcast archive, as well as show notes, links to solution providers, and complete transcripts of every episode. If you love the podcast, please leave a review with your comments.